So I want to go over this week's Spiral Abyss. So for this new Spiral Abyss is basically the new Natlin creatures. Still using my same setup. I'm using the Geo base team, and then we have the new Valette, Aqua, and Elemental team. So floor 9 is pretty straightforward. You have pretty small minions, really low HP. If you were to go into this round, you can use characters like above 70, 80. So if you're still new and struggling, yeah, get your characters up there to about level 80 to complete this wave. The reason I did the whole Spiral Abyss this time around is I know floor 12 and floor 11 are the harder ones. If you want to, you can forward it to it, but I just want to show you the different types of enemies that are showing up to the Spiral Abyss today. So basically the first 9 to 10 is basically just small minions. We have some golems in it too. Just pretty straightforward. They're not grouping too far. They're not wandering off too much. So as long as you just look around the map, you can probably get them one one at a time. Pretty simple. HP is not pretty high. So as you can see, I'm just taking grouping, trying to find a good area to group them all one at a time. Yeah. So yeah, moving on to floor 9. Second, so you got these two big golems here. Just try to take them out if you can, one at a time. You know, I'm just doing one at a time. There's technically only one too. So I think later on in the wave will become two. But as I mentioned, you'll have a lot of time. If you're especially level 9, 80 or above, you'll have no problems defeating these enemies. And they're basically small Natlin creatures, so their HPs are not really high and they're not very difficult to deal with. They don't do much damage. Just make sure if you are playing, always have a healer. Yeah, I'm cleaning out these waves pretty fast. So as I mentioned, I'll put the link down below if you want to fast forward to floor 11 and 12. But I feel that I want to do the whole, the whole feel of it, and just not like halfway through. I show you the different varieties of enemies. So here's floor 10 right now. Basically, always check the opponents, because my team, I have a Hydro team, so I try to stay clear of Hydro enemy. If you have any other types of team that you're setting up, make sure the elemental type does not match the enemy type. Otherwise, your attack won't do that much damage. So I'm checking if there's any Hydro enemies so I can do my team. I realize there's no Hydro enemies, so I just go with the basic standard Geo and Elemental again. Elemental with Freeze. I think this is a Freeze comp. Elemental Freeze and Animal. Well, this way is still straightforward. Floor 10 is pretty simple. You'll still have a few Natlin creatures going around, but this time you'll have actually enemy humans. Enemy humans are a little bit more difficult because some of them are actually they'll throw mines and things to kind of distract you, or sometimes if they have two different types of elements, they can also freeze you too. So try to watch out for that. Well, in this case, I have Zhongli, so I just solidified them, and then I just go pick them off one at a time. So that's the whole team with the Geo base. You kind of solidify them, and then just let your main DPS go to town with them. As you can see, I'm picking them off one at a time. Not like with the Geo team, you don't really have to group them together. With Geo, they do pretty big damage if you have a good DPS, and just take them off one at a time. And as you can see, this only has one enemy, so just kind of freeze him and then let my team go to work with him. So here it is. Yeah, a few Natland animals and humans again. Pretty straightforward for this wave. I think this wave is wave 10, so it's like the first team will be a bunch of enemies. The second team will be like probably one big enemy with HP. And I just wanted to use the Geo team to kind of just swing him around to kind of figure it out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as this same setup, there's one enemy, so just focus your attack on them. Don't focus on that bird. Focus on the enemy because that bird. I know if you beat that, destroy that bird, the enemy gets stung and stuff like that. But like, it's not a priority. You know, like getting stung, getting that, focusing on the bird and like wasting your resource on the bird instead of the main enemy, kind of a waste. And that stun is, to me at this point, it's not really that effective. So just focus on the enemy. So yeah, floor 10, chamber 3, steel enemies and Natland creatures. Yeah, just take them off one at a time. Take your time. If you can, you know, swing at a group of them to gonna get multiple hits on them. Yeah, just finishing off the last few enemies. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's one last boss here. So and yeah, always check the enemy type. You always want to check the enemy type because if you do get distracted or if the enemy is something against your, you know, your team setup. I noticed that the Hydro is on the second team, so I switched up my team to prevent them from doing less damage to them. And this is defense. Defense is very difficult, so it's good that I actually put the Hydro team in front because my Hydro team actually has Kazuha, who can kind of group them together and just do massive damage to them. If I had my Geo team, it would have been a little bit more difficult because they don't have anybody to kind of group them together. So if you are planning to use a team for floor 11, chamber 1, make sure you have someone that can like kind of group them together so you can do like just one single damage. It's much more easier for yourself because you know you don't want enemies scattering all over where, and then some will be hitting at the totem, some will be hitting here. So for the second team, it's pretty easy. You got 2 golems. So what I did is that I just try to solidify them, freeze them, put up my boosters, and just go to town with Ito, right? At this point, I'm pretty safe because I know I only got 2 enemies to worry about. So as long as I just freeze them in some sort of way, not freezing, just going to town, okay? Yeah, I'm pretty confident because I had 80% and you need 60 to get 3 stars, so I was pretty confident that I really didn't need the extra solidify. Yeah, so moving forward, I noticed chamber 11, the first team, is always more enemies. So having them with the team that I can actually group, especially having Kazuha on the team, really helps kind of make this go a little faster. Just group them together, doing some damage, doing some big damage to them, and getting them off the field as soon as possible. Because you see, as I'm moving around, enemies are spawning, so I'm making sure I'm getting Kazuha, group them together, doing some big damage to them, and making my time very short, because you want to finish this floor moving forward to even floor 12. You want to finish it before the 9-0, right? They give you 9 minutes, but you want to finish it before 1 minute, or 1 minute and 20 seconds if possible, because you'll need at least a total of they only give you a bunch of 3 minutes to actually finish all the rounds. So take your time accountable. As I meant, this second team here is going to have single enemies, so it's much more easier just to focus on one of them, or bring a team that just constantly deal big DPS instead of just grouping them, because they're single enemies and you really don't have to worry about, like, having someone to kind of crowd control them. So yeah, solidify, get my boost up, and go to town, making sure I get all the extra boost damage there, and I'm going to do oh yeah, because I stepped out of the zone. Okay, yeah, I stepped out. If I were in the zone, I'd probably do at least 50,000, but I stepped out of the zone there. And chamber 3, still same type of enemies. First will be kind of crowd. We have 3 enemies here, 5 actually. You have to clear out these 3 enemies, and then another 2 will spawn. So make sure you just focus on these 3, kind of group them together if possible. You don't want like finishing 2 and then 1 in the corner somewhere and just having more HP than they should have, And then the second one is kind of annoying. These guys have the tendency to go underground. So make sure you understand when they're going underground and when they're above ground to kind of utilize their attack pattern. And here we just have 1 enemy. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, but this one's really beefy. She has, I don't know, some sort of really beefy shield. So keep an eye on her. Keep an eye on her. She tends to surf around a lot. I'm surprised they actually put such a strong enemy on this map, because enemies like this normally appear on floor 12, but yeah, this one's really beefy. She's 1 enemy, but she has a lot of HP and a lot of resistant damage to all your attacks. So just focus. Any enemies that could freeze her, solidify her, go for it, because she has really, really beefy HP. Yeah, so I'm just trying to finishing her off there. Wow, she is a really tough one. A really, really tough one there. Okay, so this is floor 12. This is where things up a lot. These enemies are much more stronger than you. So calculate everything, calculate your move. I see a hydro enemy there, so I'm understanding the team setup. I'm understanding what team to use, what team not to use, especially the team that I already, I'm going to stay with the team that I already ran with, but I'm just switching it up, because I noticed that in chamber 2, they have a liquid guy, so I'm trying to prevent my Nouvellette team from going second. So I'm going to go put them in the first slot, and then I'm going to go with the Geo team on the second slot. Hopefully making that a little bit more easier for me. So floor 12 is kind of all over the place. Enemies will appear, enemies will come. These enemies are beefy. Make sure to look at the top left how many enemies there's left, because it can get confusing, especially when you think you finish like a couple of enemies and all of a sudden 3 more appear. Especially this one here. The last enemy is kind of beefy. He has that ice shield. So if you bring a fighter character, that'd be nice. But as you see, I didn't bring one, so I was kind of struggling. but I'm just making sure that because he's ice, I try to just get Kazuha out as much as possible to kind of do that animal damage and kind of reduce his shield, right? So there we go. I put up the shield. He's unaffected by freeze, but I'm still grouping them together, making sure I'm doing those big damage. I know I'm going beyond the 900 mark, but this then basically on the second team I have to kind of make up for that. Thank God at that point I reduced his shield and I kind of got him to the main HP. Yeah, so I come in, I just solidify this because I know this bird is really annoying, especially if you don't finish him off fast enough, he'll fly off and you cannot hit him with this team, right? So I'm trying to do some big damage to him, kind of get him off the field. Finally got him off the field, going to this girl, finishing her off, trying to use as much of my remaining ultimate I can to do as much HP to her. Solidify. Ido's already powered up. He's already had this energy, so I just boosting his attack up. I go towards her. Do not care about her ally, and especially this last guy. He is a little bit beefy, and he can get annoying. Just make sure you solidify him, freeze him, get all your boosts ready, and just go to town with him. You see how I try to get the Benedict ultimate up there, and I'm just getting him. I got literally 50 seconds left to go, and I'm just going to town with this guy, trying to do much big damage as possible, and I finish it off by 40 seconds left. Okay, now we're moving on to floor 12 of the Spiral Abyss. I think this is when I got the phone call, so I don't, no, the last wave is when I got the phone call. Nope, this is when I got the phone call. So I'm going to forward it a little bit, just there, to kind of cut down the video because I was answering a phone call at this point, and I'll just, there we go, let's group it back there. Okay, and I think now, okay, so as I mentioned, always keep track of how many enemies you have. I have 4 enemies, so you notice that after you finish this enemy, there's going to be one more enemy after this, and it's a chicken bird. This one would be really good if you had an Electro, but to me, I really didn't care about the vulnerability of this because even if you do have that Electro stuff, it'll just stop it from moving. So, like, having an Electro or not, especially in the Spiral Abyss, doesn't really matter. But make sure you have a healer. This chicken does a lot of big damage, right? So I noticed my Kazuha was going down, so then I switch over to my Katrina, right? I put up her other abilities to heal up my team. So if you're gonna fight this chicken without a Electro, make sure you bring a healer, because otherwise this chicken right now is doing some big damage. But because I have my shield and because I have my healer, that basically that damage is recovered. So yeah, if you're gonna fight it, make sure you have an Electro or a healer on you. So we're at floor 12, second chamber. We have 2 types of enemies. The first one is a knight. They are pretty beefy enemies, very beefy enemies. So make sure you stay on them. They're just one target, so make sure you stay on them. Do as much damage as you can. Get one of them off. You see how that one just disappeared at one point? So I noticed this one I was really tight on time, so I'm just trying to go on town. This guy would be really annoying. My tip for him is that when he's charging up, go and attack him, right? Especially when he's charging up, having that wind attack, whatever, like this, attack him. That's his best time to attack him. And what he does is that sometimes he'll decoy you. He'll have the like here, and then his figure will actually be back somewhere. So make sure not to look at the blue, but make sure to look at where he's actually standing. Because I notice I'm attacking him now, but I'm not doing any damage to him at one point here. There, he's actually back there, right? And I'm trying to attack him, his shadow here. So, yeah. Yeah, you see that shadow? I'm still attacking that shadow when he's actually somewhere else. So make sure you keep an eye where he really is and track him down, right? He can sometimes even trick you from doing that little stealthy move, but the minute he does all his special or does all his special attack, he's vulnerable, so that's the time that you use to attack him. Yeah. So keep an eye, just keep an eye on your surrounding, on where the enemy is, and you'll probably get through this. This guy's actually the newer type of enemy. He's really vulnerable if you bring a fire to it. What it does is that he'll spit out these balls of like pearls, and if you do using fire against it, it'll stun him for a minute. But for me, I really didn't care. I knew that I had enough DPS and damage in order to kind of deal with him already, because I'm basically 30 seconds in, and I'm already like halfway through his HP. So as long as you get him under the 900, like I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to stall minutes to get it. I don't know what I was doing. I was just like running into him and not doing nothing, like just standing here and not like waiting for all my skills to cool down. That is something you should not do. Switch to another character or start attacking. I don't know why I just ran to him and just stood there, but yeah, try to avoid that. If you're waiting for cooldown, might as well just attack. This one can get really annoying. We always deal with this sort of enemies during the spiral bits, and they're one of the most annoying type of enemies ever. Because what happens is that once you get them to like a certain point in HP, he'll become invulnerable and he'll send out his minion. I said this several times when I fought this enemy in the previous video. When he goes into the shield phase, look for the enemy with the HP and make sure that enemy with the HP is completely gone, because sometimes I'll attack the enemy and he'll have like a little bit more HP left, and then I was like, okay, why is this guy still invulnerable? Once he goes into that shield phase, you'll know it look like crystal. As you can see, I'm running around and I'm looking for, yep, I spotted, I'm looking for one with an HP. All the other one will not do anything. Look for the one with the HP and try to reduce that HP down as fast as you can, right? I think I got a little anxious here. I thought my Ito finished him off, so I finished him off, right? And I was like, he's done. Oh, I'm going back to think. Oh no, I was like, what? Where is he? Oh, he still has a little bit more HP left. Oh man. And I got like 30 seconds left, and I'm panicking. I was like, oh no, my Ito's ultimate's gonna run off. I'm panicking to kind of do the whole setup, Zhang Laurel, and then I noticed Bennett is up, and I was like, oh, nice, his ultimate's up again. But this is only if you have Ito's second constellation. Look at that, I was like, oh, come on! Yeah.
And that's how it's done.
Yeah. I was really panicking. I was like, oh, why is he going into that crystal stage at the last thing when I had the last 15 seconds left, and he goes in that crystal phase? That would have been end of my gameplay, right? So I'm going over the team comp now. So I'm basically gonna show off some of my team.
Where's my team?
Yeah. So my Nouvelette, he's C0. Nouvelette C0, pretty standard. Make sure you get his weapon. If you're gonna go with like people said, oh, his constellation one's good. No, I would rather you roll for his weapon. And the hunter set is the best set on him. No matter what anybody else has said, farm this set. This is the only set you should be playing Nouvelette on. Okay, and his constellation, just make sure you have his attack ready. For Trina, I don't even know what weapon. I just threw on any rare weapons I had on her. She's pretty straightforward. She's basically like a healer on this team, so make sure you have a lot of HP on her. Artifact that I choose, Golden Trout would be the best artifact, I think, for her. And on top of that, when you're farming Nouvelette Hunter set, you can also farm her too. Ito's build was very hard for build with me. I know he had the whole... It took forever to grind this set because of you have to find defense. Defense is so easy to find on other sets, but so hard to find on this set. So if you're gonna start grinding for him. And his, as you see, I have Constellation 2 on him. If you don't want to play a Geo team, do not do more than one Constellation. Geo teams are like the subtypes of Genjin. They're not that great. A lot of their characters need more Constellation in order to be stronger. So if you don't want to run a Geo team, make sure you run another team that has higher DPS. But this Geo team is really good because Zhongli, I like it. It has a shield type, it has a heal type, and it has just big damage in numbers. But if you don't have Constellation 2, his energy recharge will be a little slower. And as you can mention, I know I skipped Zhongli and Goro, but you can always stop and slowly zoom through each artifact. And if you have any questions down below, let me know. So that's basically the whole setup. I'm gonna go over. So those are the three characters that you need. Bennett is like a on and off character. If you really need him, he just gives like an additional 10,000 attack points to Ito. You don't really need him, but it's good to have that extra slot. If you want, you can fill him up with another Geo that does more Geo damage. But I choose to run with Bennett because I don't want to grind for another Geo type. And Lila was only for the shield. Once I get C1 Nouvellette, I will probably replace her. But I still build her because I think she's like level 4 Zhongli. And that's basically it. And that's my 36-star Spiral Abyss. Good luck, and I hope these tips will help you in your Spiral Abyss. And enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Peace.